Welcome to the Inception closer. My name is Shane, and in today's video I'm going to share a little bit about how to define your income goals. But before I do that, I should probably let you know that I'm actually a part of an organization now. I just got brought on a couple of days ago on Canada Day of all days, July 1st. And that company is Sales Sniper. So a little bit, you can hear the crowd. I feel like Hulk Hogan when he's in the ring. Can you hear that? Can you feel that? All right, so now, just finished watching a video by Matt Ryder, and he said you basically have to define your income goals. So for me, my income goal right now is to make $7,500 per month. So you need a benchmark. You need some kind of a way to track all this stuff as well. Because it's one thing just to throw out a number. You could throw out 10K, 20K, 30K, all this kind of stuff, but you have to be able to back it up and figure out how you're actually going to get to that. So I picked 7,500 because there's a few reasons why. But one of them is I have a full-time job right now, and eventually I'd like to segue out of that. So I make about 4K right now. The 7,500 is on top of what I'm making. That's just that pays all the bills and everything so that I can focus on Sales Sniper. So my goal would be to pay down the debt that I have. And then also a couple of goals. I want to be able to take my wife to Seattle and go watch the Blue Jays Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So 3 days in a hotel close to the stadium and watch the Blue Jays, hang out, all this kind of stuff. So I figure that's probably going to cost about 10K. Oh, and the debt is about 20K. Trip to Mexico, 5K. I'd like to do that all inclusive for a week. So those are just some of my immediate goals. When I say immediate, this would be something that I'd like to accomplish in the next 4 to 6 months. So 4 months, 6 months. I put down 4 months. So how do I get there? So right now, depending on whatever role that they sign me in, could be triage, could be a closer down the road, it could fluctuate in any given week. So I just use an average of $200. Obviously, depending on your position, it's going to be, especially at the beginning, it could be a little bit less, it could be $50, $100, whatever. But I just use $200 as a benchmark because it's easy for numbers, it's easy for math. So then I figured, okay, so my goal would be to have a show up rate of 70%. So if it dips below that, I have to figure out how to get that back up to 70%. You can say a show up rate of 90%, but I think at the beginning you have to have some kind of a baseline so that you can know, okay, this has been my show up rate, it's less than 70, how do we get it up above 70? If it's 90% show up rate, then that's a whole different issue. Maybe I'm not pressing them hard enough to qualify them, because if they all show up, chances are a percentage of them are not in a position to purchase a course, a program, whatever it is. They're just jumping in because there's no qualification. You bring in somebody to get them on a call, and halfway through the call you realize that they're moving away for a month to South Africa. And it's like, well, shoot, if the appointment setter had qualified them first and said, are you in the conversation, are you by any chance leaving the country? That'd be a good thing to know before you send it off to the closer. So this is why I have a metric of 70%. Again, it can be tweaked let's just say your closing rate is 60%, and if you're into triage, it might be a little bit higher. It could be 70, 80%, 90%. But I think if it's 50%, maybe you're doing something wrong as well in your close rate. And so if a person was in triage, it would be probably a little bit higher because you're getting them to the appointment. So it might be as high as like 80, 90%. But once it goes above that, maybe you're not pushing them enough. And if it's too low, if you get off the phone and maybe it's only 20% of the people actually want to get onto a phone call with a coach, consultant, whatever, you're probably doing something wrong as well. Maybe you're pushing them too hard. So I figured that's how I came up with 60%. So then you figure out how many dials, how many cold calls, how many conversations, all this kind of stuff. So my goal for the month would be to get 40 sales. That's my goal. And again, that's an easy number. An easy number to work with. I like numbers that work. So $7,500 at $200 commission, you need 40 sales. So with a show up rate of 70%, close rate of 60%, you need to have 100 booked calls. Book calls. So that's 100 book calls in a month. That works out to 5 conversations per day. So you can obviously, if you have more room, you can make more room because you know there's going to be a percentage of people that are going to be ghosting. So if I'm on the phone with 5 people a day to start out with, I'm positioning myself to be in a good place where a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks down the road, you start hitting your targets and your goals because now you have the volume full, your pipeline is full, and you know your metrics where you need to have 5 conversations with people every single day. That is not calling them, that is not a cold call and seeing if they are a fit just to get them into the triage part of it. Those are different. That's basically, those are all the dials that gets you to the point where you actually have 5 calls booked in your calendar. So hopefully this is making sense. So my target would be to do whatever above and beyond that to get 5 conversations. You want to be able to have 5 bookings. So maybe it's, at noon, maybe there's one at 1 o'clock, one at 2 o'clock, one at 3, one at 4, one at 5. And then obviously, as you get more comfortable with your script and everything, you can start to shrink that down. And maybe it's in a block of like 3 hours where you have 4 calls every hour. That would be kind of a goal. 4, 8, 12, 16 conversations. Now you can see based on my metrics and all that, if you're having more conversations because you're a triager, and your commission's a little bit lower than the $200, obviously, I would just figure out the numbers according to that. So if it's $50 every time you send someone through to the closer and they close it, you get $50, $40, $20, $100. I don't really know what the commission structure, how it's set up just yet. Could be a base. Who knows what it is at the beginning. So, but it's important to start thinking this way because you have to have some kind of a target that you're going after, a goal. Dreams are okay. It's okay to have dreams. But now, how do you put that down on a piece of paper? So this is what I do. I write it all down with my John Wick pencil. I write all my goals because this is the fun part now. The hardest part was going through all the course material over the past few months, trying to find clients, sending out video resumes and all this kind of stuff, interviews, going through the whole process, role plays, all this. And now Now that you actually got hired by a company, now you have to figure out, okay, what do I actually want to make? What are my goals? So this is the fun part, because now that you have a roadmap, now you can go, okay, here's what I need to do. I need to get myself into a position every single day to get me closer to my goals. And then you tag a few things to that, like paying down debt, Blue Jays game, trip to Mexico. Pretty simple. It's not extravagant by any means. It's not like, oh, I need to make 200 grand this year alone, this month. I need to make, in less than 21 days, I need to make this. It's going to take a little bit of inertia and organization on my part, all this kind of stuff as well. So yeah, this is the fun part. And if you're curious as to how to become an inbound closer and all that good stuff, that's why you want to subscribe to this channel. Excuse me, because things are getting pretty exciting right now. I'm telling you. It's funny because I even made a video, and I'll wrap this up. And this is pretty important. I made a video about 2 months ago. I can't remember what the title was, but it was something like I had a dream. And in that, excuse me, in that dream, I pretended that I was around the boardroom table of the sales sniper. So I remember seeing Marco, James, Matt, a few others, and I couldn't tell who the other people were. I didn't know their names. Now I might have an idea based on all the staff that I'm getting to know in Sales Sniper. So it's interesting that I made a video about that, how to have lucid dreams and all this kind of stuff. And I actually had a dream about me working for Sales Sniper. This was a few months ago. I didn't apply or anything to the Sales Sniper, which is interesting in itself. And when you think about it, it's kind of weird that I'm actually with the organization now. So I'm also in their internship. Even that is just amazing in itself, how all this stuff falls into place. So watch my videos, and the biggest takeaway, I guess, that I could say to you if you're interested in becoming an inbound closer is it takes a lot of work. I've been honest about that right from the very beginning. From the second I started downloading my first course almost 8 months ago. It's a lot of work, but there's fruit on the other side of it. It's almost like you're farming. You're planting crops, you're tilling the soil, you're making sure everything is ready. You buy equipment, all this kind of stuff. You make sure your tractors are running, all this. I'm not a farmer, but you buy all this equipment, and then you start to plant all your crops and all this kind of stuff, and then you have to continually do that. You got to check on your livestock, all this kind of stuff, while you're waiting to reap the harvest. Because there is, if you sow, you're going to reap. It's a universal law. If you sow long enough, you're going to reap. That's important. So I've been sowing for almost 8 months. Every single day, sowing. Now, a harvest is beginning to show itself. Hopefully this makes sense. And now I got to get into going through the whole onboarding process, all that kind of stuff. So this is where the fun begins. I'm telling you, this is the fun stuff. This is what I've been waiting for. No longer am I in the bleachers. Now I'm in the stadium. I'm actually playing ball. Got my bat all ready to go and ready to rock and roll. So stay tuned, subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in another video. Bye for now.